do you have in mind?
Today's episode of the Movie Critic podcast is about a movie called The 40-Year-Old Virgin Who Knocked Up Sarah Marshall and Felt Super Bad About It. Now, this movie stars Bryan Callen as a Steve Carell knockoff that essentially is spoofing Seth Rogen's movies and also Judd Apatow's movies into this one movie that kind of doesn't even feel like a movie, but is more like scary movie. Now, when I first started watching this, I thought this is going to be terrible. And I was right. It is pretty terrible. It's probably like a 2 out of 10. But I will say this. When you journey into a movie that you know is going to be bad, and it delivers that level of badness, it actually winds up being kind of good. Now, a 2 out of a 10, I wouldn't say is something that I would watch again, but it's definitely something that if you haven't seen, you should at least watch the first 30 minutes of it, because some of the slapstick bits that are in this movie are funny enough to keep you engaged. And that's all it is. It's just funny enough to keep you engaged, and that's why we like watching movies. There hasn't been a movie in the last 5-10 years that has pulled me in really like an Inception or something like a Jurassic Park. There hasn't been that movie that we've seen. So lately I've been watching movies that are more B and C and D movies because they're actually funnier and more interesting than a lot of the stuff that's being pumped out now. Plus, I think supporting some lower budget work is actually better in the long run. Not that, it needs to be supported, but I would much rather watch something that's horrible and stupid funny than something that's trying to be smart and misses the mark, aka the woke comedy of today's generation. And one of the reasons why I think movies have really gone to this Lords of Dogtown plateau, which is actually a great movie, but what I'm trying to paint the picture of why Hollywood, I think, has gone to absolute tripe is the people that are running it. Here's an image of those people that are running Hollywood. Yes, these people, the theater nerds of today are controlling what gets made. These are mid-level executives. These are people who sit in the meetings with writers and directors and studio executives, and these are the people who go into the ear of the studio exec, yes, this type of person, and says this needs to get made because it checks all of the boxes. It checks the, ideology boxes. We need to be politically correct. We need to have, feminism and with trans characters and all of this. And that's all great. If it's good, and there hasn't been one that's been good in a hot second. So why Hollywood is in the crapper is these people right here. Take another gander. Take a look at these fine executive females that are mid-level and that are, they're about 245, 300. There's a nice waddle in and out of the office. They can make a good cup of coffee. But can they find a good script? Can they pick up a good piece of material and hand it over and say, this has to be made because it's the best thing I've ever read? No, they can't. What they're skimming for in these scripts, does it check boxes? Does it check the woke ideology box? And if the answer is yes, then that's what gets run up the flagpole. Now, I'm not saying all mid-level executives are controlling Hollywood, but I will say a lot of Hollywood is being controlled by HR. I would argue that Hollywood was better probably before the Me Too movement. That's when the actual good movies were getting made. And I'm not saying that it's because, pedophiles make good movies or the Harvey Weinsteins or the Chris D'Elias and the Kevin Spaceys. These are all talented people. What I'm saying is that before the Me Too movement, there was bar none better projects being made. And, you know, that's a shame, because you would think that there would be better projects being made now after the Me Too movement, where we've gotten the bad guys out of Hollywood. And so now we can make movies with all this creative freedom. But now when you go on a movie set, you are confronted by intimacy coordinators and people that jobs didn't exist 10 years ago. And, you know, that's all fine. But what are we doing? We're going to make these PC, really unbudget-friendly movies for the woke people who only live in LA and New York, and not the American people. We're not making movies for Americans anymore. We're making movies for the purple-haired, you know what I'm talking about, the wombats of Hollywood and New York. These people. Take another look. These people right here. Yes. So there we go. That's my 2 cents. The best movie that I've seen that is the worst movie that I've ever seen in the last 10 years is this movie right here, The 40-Year-Old Virgin Who Knocked Up Sarah Marshall and Felt Super Bad About It. It is so bad that you will laugh out loud. It is so appalling that you will turn it off halfway into it, and then you'll find yourself coming back to it later. That's how bad it is. So on a scale from 1 to 10, it's a 2 out of 10. But I will say they went for it, and I respect going for it versus pulling back more than anything else. So 2 out of 10. That would be my recommendation of the week. And thank you for watching episode 1 of the Movie Critic podcast. Cheers.